Well, now I hope everybody is very, very excited to discuss the next topic, which is really exciting, the digital future of metro rail. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to first welcome the moderator, Ms. Vaishakhi Shah, PwC Director, Infrastructure. Our first panelist, Mr. Narendra K. Ashar, Digital Innovation and Lumada Leader, APAC, Hitachi Rail. He has an experience of 35 years in rail utility and energy. Mr. Surjit S. Madan, Head Rail Systems, Andhra Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Limited. Mr. S. Ramasubbu, Advisor, Chennai Metro Rail Limited. And last but not the least, Mr. Harshkumar Bajpeyee, Managing Director, India, Schwihag India Private Limited. So ladies and gentlemen, let's begin the very exciting topic for this particular session. And now I would request the moderator to please take it forward from here.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We've just heard Mr. Obadhyay talking about the role cybersecurity plays, and moving on to the next topic, which is the second panel of the day. So very good afternoon to all of you.
Good afternoon.
In India, with an increasing number of cities who are aspiring for the metro rail systems to be a primary mode of urban transportation, it's extremely critical to create an enabling environment for the expansion of these systems across the nation. Currently, in the country, we have an operational metro network to the tune of upwards of 700 plus kilometers. While several policy reforms play a critical role in the successful implementation and operations of metro systems, the role of digitization is equally important. And that is the topic of the discussion of our panel today. To shed light on the role of digitization for metro systems, along with a perspective on what is the digital future of metro rail, specifically in India, we are joined by a panel of subject matter experts. So we have experts from the private sector as well as the government implementing agencies who would be able to bring in a different perspectives on table. The panel members have already been introduced, but just to give a quick recap, from the government sector, who are from the implementing agencies, we have Mr. Surjit Madan. He's the Head Rail Systems of Andhra Pradesh Metro Rail Corporation Limited. We also have Mr. S. Ramasubbu, who is the Advisor for Operations and Rolling Stock, and he represents the Chennai Metro Rail Limited. From the private sector, we have Mr. Narendra K. Ashar. He is the Digital Innovation and Lumada Leader for APAC Hitachi Rail. Joining him, we have Mr. Harshkumar Bajpeyee, who is the Managing Director India for Schwihag India Private Limited. And I, Vaishakhi Shah, I'm a Director with the Capital Projects and Infrastructure team at PwC. I will be the moderator for the session. In the first half of the session, the expert panel will share their views on the role of digitization and the future of metro rail. Let me begin the session by understanding how the implementing agencies can use the tools of digitization for monitoring, managing, and overlooking the ongoing projects. So, Mr. Surjit Madan, request if you could share your views on this. Sir, you're on mute, sir. Sorry.
Yes, please. So, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon now. And first, we come to digitization as a subject. Digitization is nothing new to metros. In fact, most of the rail systems, starting from signaling, rolling stock, telecom, or they all depend on digitization. In fact, all automation is there on the signaling front. The trains are run by computer control. So all are come under the digitization. Now, my topic basically is for monitoring, managing, overlooking of ongoing projects. So this is the construction phase. In construction phase, we start with the authority or the organization which is implementing the metro can rely on the project management software, which gives exposure to all the stakeholders, be a contractor or the consultant or the authority. It is giving the access to all. You can look at what type of design drawings are being developed, what type of comments being made. And as the progress goes, you can have the metro as being rolled out. Next comes the construction phase, which is dominated by civil. And this phase is basically a construction phase. So the reliability is on the BIM models. An example of BIM model is a 3D model. And you can add some more dimension to that model also, like the time frame and also the cost model. Once that is done, then you have a better picture of monitoring the whole project and getting a where something is being lagged, you can focus on that and improve on that area. And the same model later on can be extended for the maintenance aspect, because you know where your assets have been located and you can monitor all your assets using the same type of model, which is linear in nature as far as the track part is concerned, or the stations are concerned, or the signaling and all that. But it is also dynamic as far as the rolling stock is concerned, or the trains are concerned. So each train have to be identified separately and can be monitored. So that helps also during the phase of operation and maintenance. You can track almost all your assets and make use of. And with the artificial intelligence coming in, you can further optimize the systems from the energy efficiency point of view or the consumption, and what the metro can become more smarter. That is how the digitization plays. But it's already playing a big part. It can be further extended. And the extension can also go to like driverless operations, where you can improve the efficiency and energy consumption. So this is my take on digitization and how it is being used for monitoring, managing, and overlooking the.
Many thanks, Mr. Madan. I think we couldn't agree more that amongst all modes of urban transport, metro is a segment where digitization is already playing a critical role. The points you mentioned about what role it can play at the construction and maintenance phase, they are well noted, sir. Moving on to, while Mr. Madan spoke about what role they can play in monitoring and overlooking of projects, let us understand the role that digitization can play in, having sustainable and reliable metro rails. So during its operation phase, how can we ensure that the operations are sustainable and reliable? So, Mr. Ashar, would you like to throw light on this, please?
Yeah, so I think Mr. Madan has told all that is applicable in railways and in metros, and the crux of the matter is a lot of technology is available. And the other thing is it is being deployed in India also. So if you see trains after 2015, all the metros have driverless operations, and in tenders as well as in operations. They are in service also. So the first one finally flagged off in 2019 somewhere after a lot of trials in DMRC, and all the other metros are now having the driverless operations also. So driverless operation brings energy efficiency to the metros. So it's not about replacing a driver or saving a manual labor over there or running it more efficiently. It is about energy efficiency can only be achieved if you have an ATO operations, because the response time it takes to drive a train, to do a proper regeneration, to do a proper acceleration rate, to do a proper deceleration rate, and control the energy back with a given regeneration ratio. This is very important to have a driverless train. So that's being done in India. The technology is available. The hitch though is the tendering schemes and the ask by the metro corporations for energy consumptions has to be more realistic, and I'm not saying less. I'm saying it can be more in some cases and can be even less consumption in some cases. But from the project report side, from the DPR side to the tendering side, these efficiency parameters have to be specified realistically, which are different for all different cities, but that's not happening. So everybody would agree that there is an energy consumption requirement. Everybody would agree that it can only be done within ATO operations. This is one of the things that we need to drive further. As Mr. Madan said, all the equipment is available, all the technology is available, but the right use of technology in deployment stage needs to be fine-tuned or needs to be deployed properly. So this is one of the management aspects of it. The second aspect is an integrated railway or a driverless train has a lot of significance from energy consumption as well as signaling. So signaling is a core of driverless. Driverless is a core of energy consumption. Now, considering this key link, the communication between the signaling provider and the rolling stock provider has to be good. It has to be facilitated better by the metro corporations. Okay, so these are the issues that the industry would like to address in interest of the metro corporations, so that finally the beneficiary is the passenger or the common man who buys the ticket and travels. The third issue is integrated operation in terms of building my energy management. So these are some of the things I would like to say.
Thank you, Mr. Ashar. We've noted your point. So, building on what Mr. Madan said, we understand that in terms of operations, it's critical to ensure we achieve energy efficiency. That could be done through driverless operations. That could be done through integration between the signaling and the rolling stock operations. And these are very useful insights to understand that while we're using digitalization, what kind of efficiencies we can achieve by implementing the tools of digitalization. Thank you. So what we've spoken about is what roles digitalization can play in monitoring, managing, how it can create efficiencies. Now, we are able to collect large amounts of data through this digitalization of metro. So how can we use this data for asset management? I'd like Mr. Bajpeyee to please shed light on this topic. Sir, you're on mute, sir. Request you to unmute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah. So, thank you and good afternoon to all. Mr. Madan and Mr. Ashar, they have really given a very good insight that a digitalization is a need, and what we think is not the approach like replacing a person or anything like that, but it comes with some specific purpose. So that we need to understand. Also, I would like to say that whatever data we are collecting, it is a big data. I call it as a big data, and how to use that is the major problem. That we have all the data, but how to use it, how to filter it, how to make it more specific so that we optimize the asset, we maintain the asset, and as such, we have a lower project cost ultimately, and a lower life cycle cost. Now let us understand that what is the objective behind collecting the data. The objective is that we need to give a better condition to passenger, a better reliable system. We need to maintain a very reliable, safe system. It should be energy efficient. It should promote environmental goodness in future, so that because we are also now tied up with the commitment of net carbon zero. So this is also one of the things. So basically there should be some objectives behind that why we are collecting data. Then as Mr. Upadhyay has also raised the concern of cyber security. So it is not only the railway security, but even the passenger security is also compromised if data is compromised. So ultimately it boils down to safety. So after what I have seen, that there is a major disintegration, as Mr. Ashar has said, that we are not analyzing data as a whole system, but it is going in part mill basis. For example, from where we get the data? We get data from passenger management system. We get data from the rolling stock performance, from signaling. Then we get some environmental inputs. Then the geographic adjustments, what we do, like bridges and tunnels are there. So how the system behaves in that condition. So that also need a very special attention. That what special can be done. So everything has got some impact on one or the other. Example I will quote. For example, the rail track. Rail track, if not efficiently designed or a choice is being made in favor of custom passenger comfort, we go up with adapting to the old way of fastening system. The current fastening system, which are there in market, even based on the experience I will share while traveling into European metros, you can feel the sound level is very low, no vibrations in train. So these type of information need to be passed on to the metro operators, that yes, there is a system which is available outside India, which can be incorporated in our system. DMRC has got a good ridership. It is not only that because of the population, but it is the comfort where you can really feel low noise and low vibration. I was very surprised. I'll be very specific. I had been to Nagpur. The fastening system, it is a metro. So the passenger comfort is compromised because the old type of fastening system is there. Heavy noise and even vibration can be felt in the nearby houses. So what I am saying, that yes, we have a big data, but how to analyze, how to put that data for use. So I will align with Mr. Ashar that we have a data, but management is usage. Data can be managed. You can have a software which will be backing up the data. You can have you can collect the data, but how to use it? So how to use is a major problem in India. I will say that each metro is working in silo and they don't share their experiences. Yes, DMRC is taking consultancy to some of the metro, but this need to be looked after as a system, a whole system, in order to seek the benefits.
So, Mr. Bajpeyee, we hear you. We understand that while the data is getting accumulated, how do we use this data is a major challenge. But do you suggest that this digitalization can also help reduce the life cycle cost of a system? Is that possible? And are we in India using the digitalization to reduce the life cycle cost?
Yeah, surely. Same thing. I will again give the same example that you have a rolling stock life cycle cost. Then you also have a track under it. The behavior of the track will pass on various inefficiencies or the loads on the rolling stock. It is a reverse because there are various forces which are acting. The point loading is there. So what is the effect? The vibrations are getting transferred to the rolling stock. So it will create some problem. So in case if we can reduce vibrations, what are the new technologies available? So indirectly you are improving the life cycle cost, or you are reducing the life cycle cost of the rolling stock. Same thing with the rail tracks. So if you are giving proper cushioning and recent technologies are being used, which are there and which are proven technologies, your maintenance of track will also reduce. So this is a logic which need to be applied, and India will get benefited because low maintenance, more availability. So this is directly proportional. That if inversely, I will say, if there is low maintenance, there will be more availability. Passenger experience also we need to look into. So ultimately, we need more ridership. You can see Chennai Metro and other metros, they are not being utilized properly. There is no ridership. So how you will get the ridership? When you will give proper comfort to passengers, you will give a safe system. So lot of things are there. So this will surely help Indian government to enhance the system life, I will say.
Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Thank you. I think we have spoken about different dimensions of the role of digitization. So we have spoken about how digitization can help in monitoring of projects. We have spoken about how we can create sustainable, reliable metros. We've also mentioned that the right use of data that we're collecting through digitization can lead to efficiencies in the system, can lead to reduction of life cycle costs in the system, will ultimately lead to securing more ridership. But I think one challenge we have been talking about in the role of digitization is the interoperability between different platforms. So, Mr. Ramasubbu, based on your experience of implementing the Chennai Metro, what would be your suggestion on what are the challenges we are facing in terms of interoperability of the platforms and how one can mitigate those challenges? Mr. Ramasubbu, you're on mute.
Good afternoon, Ramasubbu here.
Yes,
Hello?
sir, we can hear you. Sir. Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
I'm not well, actually. I'm in the hospital, so I'm attending from the hospital. So I'll slightly change the topic. Okay, from my experience, whatever the digitalization we are using in Chennai Metro, I'll throw out some few points. We are using already we are using the digitalization in the asset management, operation control, energy management, HRM, and revenue collection. See, asset management we are using for rolling stock, traction,
Yes, sir, we can hear you, sir.
rolling stock, traction, signal and telecom, and all the asset management we are using digitalization. A few examples, for example, it is minor item like all the actual box temperature is recorded. Whatever the train passing through some place, all the actual box. So from that data, we are analyzing whether any of the actual box is deteriorating or it is their temperature level is same. Similarly, the same type we are using for transformer monitoring, all other asset in the metro system, we are monitoring with the digitalization. Operation control we are using for rake link, maintenance schedule, the operator development training, crew link, all that is operation purpose. We are using it for energy management, monitoring the specific energy consumption of different equipments. Then a seasonal variation of energy consumption. Then day-wise variation of energy consumption both in traction and non-traction area. Then somebody was mentioning revenue collection. We are already using it for in the revenue collection area. The station-wise, the mode-wise. Mode means whether it is a revenue is collected through a card or QR code or daily token. All the mode we are analyzing and we are how to improve the rate. Somebody told that Chennai Metro is very low. Yes, I agree that it is very low ridership because there are so many other geographical region, because cheaper mode of transport is running parallel. to us. We are trying to mobilize some of the modes like bus and autos to metros. For that, we already started taking the data and digitalized all these data and analyzing it. And now it is slowly, these data are used and we are picking up the ridership. Over and above, almost all the areas we are already using it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Ramasubbu. We appreciate your spirit of joining the panel session in spite of the health issues and concerns that you have. Thank you so much for sharing insights about how Chennai Metro is using digitization in different aspects of rolling stock signaling, operations, construction, maintenance, etc. Thank you so much. With that, we end our one session on understanding the different aspects of digitization. Um, uh, if the audience has any questions for the expert panel, please feel free to drop in your messages at the chat box. Um, Please use this opportunity to seek guidance and understand the experience of the expert panel which is there with us online today. In the meantime, till we get questions, maybe an open question to the panel, any one of you could pitch in. I think there's one issue we're talking about interoperability or in terms of digitization. Are there any countries that we could look at, take learnings from with respect to areas where India is lacking? So if we were to mention a benchmark or, say which country is doing way better than we are, which would that be and what kind of learnings we can take away from there?
I will share my experience that I feel really bad that we have European companies which are doing business in India, but the kind of feel and the comfort and the reliability what we feel in Europe. I have traveled in most of the European metro trains and even regional trains, but that kind of feel we are not able to get in any of the metro in India. Though the company, they are making rolling stocks for Europe, same companies are making rolling stocks in India. I don't know whether it is being dictated as Mr. Before this session, I also attended one session where we need to make this committee as an independent committee to make a choice. And the major lacuna in our system is we always give priority to the cost. So if really we want to make a role model for a project, then we will have to really pour in some money and make it as a benchmark and then ask the competitor to compete based on the benchmark what we created. So this is my general experience. I have traveled in TGV and other metro trains. My experience is fantastic. And if you ask me to rate the Indian metro with those metros, I will give half marks. That means 5 points out of 10. Though we are investing huge amount in digitalization, improving passenger experience, everything, I have never experienced anything in any of the metro in India. So these are my remarks. And I think Mr. Ashar and Mr. Madan might have experienced same thing.
So it doesn't look nice to contradict you, but I can share my experience on Mumbai Metro Line 1. I was in charge of the rolling stock, and we bought the train from China, CRRC Nanjing. But trains are far better than what they run on Delhi Metro.
Yeah.
So it's not the question from where you get the train at what cost alone, but how do you manage them also? And efficiency-wise, the Mumbai Metro Line 1 is the most efficient line. It has the availability is something like 99.6% and above, one aspect. Secondly, the number of passengers it carries is about 40,000 per route kilometer, whereas Delhi is around 10,000 only.
10,000.
They changed the norms to make it to almost double by counting 2 journeys by the same passenger when their line is changed. So that norm is different for Delhi Metro now. In 2019 or 20, they changed the norm to give a better picture. But still, the line 1 in Mumbai Metro is 7th heaviest loaded line in the world.
No,
Six,
that I will appreciate, yes.
Right. And 40,000 not a small number per kilometer, because a 11-kilometer line carries more than 4.5 lakh passengers, because this is pre-pandemic. And sooner or later, they will again catch the same figure. But it also depends upon the culture of the city.
Yeah.
Mumbai adopts any mass transit with open arms and heart. Not true for other cities. Particularly smaller cities, the convenience is not there. The time frame saving is also not that much. In Mumbai, if you want to travel 10 kilometer on road, it will take you more than an hour on peak hours.
I agree.
So culture-wise, it is also different. Slowly, the ridership builds up. So today, the cities don't have a good ridership. One day, they will also have a good ridership, including the Chennai. Have no doubts on that. And trains are equally good. Question is, how do you maintain them? Once you buy, they are bought to the same norms. The norms remain same throughout. Whenever you do the same test, everything same. The quality, ride comfort, all the tests are same. Whether done in India or outside, we follow the same standard. The flaw is after you start the operations, there can be some lacuna. You have to look into it, solve your problem, and keep on improving. Right? I can give you an example on track what you raised. Delhi Metro consultant adopted the head-hardened rail. So when you have a head-hardened rail, then the wheel becomes further hard. Means comparatively, it's a harder wheel. Now, harder rail, harder wheel. You can think of the vibrations would be more, the ride comfort would not be that good. It may be okay for the Delhi Metro because it depends. Suppose if you see the standards, it depends how much gross million ton per year. If it is very high, then head hardened. If it is not that high, use a normal rail. Mumbai Metro Line 1 is a normal rail, except in curves. Same is Delhi Airport Express, fully normal rail. We debated that with Delhi Metro and convinced them technically, please don't go for head-hardened rails are not good. It requires more maintenance. You have to grind the rail in some places in metros every week or every 2 weeks. Right? So it doesn't serve the purpose by using a hardened rail. You have elongated the life or you have improved the services. It is negative basically. So those are some of the technical points also linked with, of course, is away from digitization, but everything put together makes a good metro or not so good metro. But it is technical people to make it as good as possible. And India has a good, I think, exposure to the metro system coming in, but copy paste alone is not the answer.
Yeah.
The authorities must use what is for them. The smaller cities, different ridership, different things. So technically, they should also differ. Please follow all the norms. If you don't follow the Euro norms also, or the European norms, you're looking for trouble. Track is one such condition. Unnecessarily, many metros have adopted make the wheel also hardened. It is not as per the standard. Both the things are non-standard.
Agree.
Not a good thing. But people don't come to know because these are the technical issues. But service is first. For any metro, first, their comfort is first. And digitization should keep on helping them with different applications, with everything. So ease of coming, and then the connectivity from the station to nearby should be the responsibility of metro, whether they do it on their own or tie up with the others.
Yeah, that is
back to the home or lift from. Many countries in the world follow the same philosophy. In fact, the tickets are also common between their transit, road transit, and the
Yeah,
So
same ticket can be used. This I have also said.
Ticket is used for the transit, the road
Yeah.
transit, plus the metro, right? So people have developed the systems. We have isolated metro separately, road separately, but a person's journey is not completed like that.
Agree.
Keep on improving.
Yes.
Change come up very slowly. Any
But
change,
one role model need to be created, Mr. Madan, to showcase that okay, this is the thing which we should all work on. So you are right that interconnectivity and single ticketing system, these are some of the good things which I think around 10 years back I have seen the system in London, that I bought one ticket. I traveled whole London using the
sure.
metro, bus, everything.
Anything.
Yeah,
No, in fact, the service from the station to the
destination.
area, the surrounding area, in many places is provided by the metro itself.
Yeah,
The bus service also, right? And it goes around in circles, one
Yes.
clockwise, one counterclockwise, right? So you don't miss it whether your house is in which direction. So one bus will move clockwise on one side of the line, and the other bus, the next bus will move counterclockwise. So like that, they've used the logic to give the best service. In fact, even if the road service is provided free and taken care of the cost of the metro ticket by enhancing small amount, you need not declare. You can provide a free service for the connectivity. Then nobody will mind. Means you get down, you get a bus, and it takes you to your destination.
So this will surely help to improve the ridership. So this is a major problem with most of the metros.
Ease of means it picks you up from your close to your residence and brings you to the station. Ticket can be given at the bus itself, as in some cities, and you can travel on the same ticket. You don't have to buy a ticket again.
Yeah.
But if you have a ticket with the metro, same ticket can be used for going anywhere.
Yeah.
In a radius of 100 meters. Because
Mr. Madan, Mr. Bajpeyee, very, very interesting conversations that we are having with respect to one. We are saying, okay, globally we do have benchmarks, but we need to suit it to the Indian conditions, to our metro systems. It's not about just replicating what's happening outside here into India as is. It needs to be suited to the requirements that we have over here. Mr. Ashar, would you also like to come in, join the conversation with Mr. Bajpeyee and Mr. Madan?
Two points. Mr. Bajpeyee said last mile connectivity is a big issue. So the access to metro is a big issue. So if I live in Cantonment Station in Bangalore, near Cantonment Station, and I have to go to Rajaji Nagar, which by car is 20 minutes for my office. If I go by metro, I have to first go 20 minutes in one direction by auto, go to Vidhan Sada, catch a metro, go to Kempegowda metro, change, and another travel 45 minutes back to Rajaji Nagar. So my 20 minutes by car, however troublesome it is replaced by 1.5 hours of metro. That is one thing. So metro light and metro neo systems are supposed to be feeder routes. They need to get more popular. The reason could be that again, availability of road space and where to accommodate these. This is one of the things. So other thing is about common ticketing. Now NCMC system is available in India. It is second to none. National Common Mobility System. It is second to none. So I'm actually discussing this with my global counterparts in Italy and Asia Pacific. They are shocked and surprised at the level of digital infrastructure which the government has already created and is available for use in metros. But so the adaptation of this NCMC by metros, the resistance could be this is a pay-as-you-go system, whereas the closed loop card which they have been using is like one-time cash coming to the metro rails, and then that gives them one-time money, but it does not have interoperability with other transportation modes. Now NCMC card has been created by a lot of good work by CDAC, and it is mandated since 2019, since the Prime Minister Modi inaugurated that in Ahmedabad in April of 2019. There is a mandate to metro operators. So it is very slowly catching up. Secondly, it's one unique system where the world is surprised. It's like use any debit or credit card like a ticket. So that is already available, and not many are utilizing it or want to utilize it for various reasons. So this is one of the things. So other thing is that card can be virtualized and be used from an NFC-enabled phone. So question is, if I'm in Bangalore having my HDFC or a Citibank card off a Bangalore account, I go to Delhi. Delhi airport line has operationalized it, and for another 350 stations, the tender is announced. So it's awarded. It will be awarded. It's announced. The results is announced. It's like I go to Delhi and I tap my bank card, and that's my ticket. So that is available, and I walk out and I then go to any mode of transportation which accepts that card. And that's my ticket. So attempts are being made. Other thing is, given the funding situation, India is the only country which is allowing, to a large extent, a third-party open source ticketing players to come in. There were attempts to privatize, collect all the transport operators in one area and make them adapt to common systems, which are not successful. But NCMC system is actually meant for doing that. So some of the advantages which we have, we say Europe has a single ticket and all that. We have the technology. Government is giving it so free. So if you look at our merchant discount rates in card payments, it is 0. So Metro doesn't have to bear any banking cost for a card transaction. So these are some of the advantages available, which are second to none. Today, number of mobile phone and feature phone users in India is more than the population of Europe. So other thing is, we need to adopt a proper model like mobility as a service and copy Europe or any other geography of the world, or do mobility on demand. Because the demand for transportation increases in the time slot of 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Otherwise, on an average, we are very good. If you take the statistics and the road occupancy ratio and all that. And there's, as Mr. Madan said, there's some culture issue also. Central Delhi, the average speed of travel is 15 kilometers per hour. People don't want to give up their cars. Whereas metro network is best. 390 kilometers metro in a single city. 349 kilometers, to be very precise. So these are the issues, And if you look at smaller cities, the reach of metro is very limited. For example, Jaipur is going right on the top of the Johari Bazaar. Now, Johari Bazaar has a culture where the work place, that is the shop, and the residence of the people who work for it is just behind it. So nobody travels for work over there, and tourists come there. So tourists have to go all around, So one of the issue is the length and the reach of the metro. For example, if you look at London metro, the network is 5 times lengthier than the Delhi metro. All the ridership is same. If I look at, and then it is going to exceed post-pandemic Delhi metro ridership compared to London ridership. Hong Kong metro, the kilometers is about 4 times that of Delhi. So, and Singapore metro, the network length is almost same as that of Delhi. However, the ridership percentage is high, resulting into a good viability. Here we say that metro corporations are in negative operations cash, And the Singapore has put restrictions on car, everywhere, right? So if you go from one destination to other in the morning, your cab passes through a, arc or something like that. There is a FASTag like a card. You are billed a certain amount. In the evening, if you go back that way, the moment it passes under a sensor, your meter keeps on going up. So for going, I pay $7, and coming back, I paid $21. So this is some coordinated effort we have to take. And the worst thing is last mile connectivity. In Switzerland, we don't have to walk more than 100 meters to access the nearest public transport. Now, Can it be done in India given the condition of roads, and even if we take Metro Light and Metro Neo, which do not require a huge space to occupy on the ground, like a metro? The issue there would be, why can't we motivate our large population of autos, e-rickshaws and things like that into a common integrated system? Because that infrastructure is available to us and it is distributed. Now here the digitalization can play a big role. So today we have got NCMC system, which is based on NPCI, Universal Payment Gateway, which has zero merchant development rate. So there is no banking transaction cost and people are surprised. I work with Japanese and Italian, counterparts on a daily basis. They're surprised, they say, oh, no bank charges, no bank charges. How do they make money? It's there in the tender as 30 paisa or 40 paisa or whatever per 100 rupees. So I don't want to discuss those commercials here. But this is the advantage. Secondly, now ONDC is coming up, Open Network for Digital Commerce. So it is One Digital India initiative. I think it was inaugurated sometime mid last year by none other than Nandan Nilekani. So we have so many advantages that we have a largest digital infrastructure which no government is providing in the world. So, relevant to today's topic, infrastructure is what it is. We cannot put budget cap and the time it takes to build the train and run the train, and then again there will be discussion about what type of comfort level we want to offer. Now, whether a right decision was taken in Delhi, whether there are public grievances against the vibration levels and all that. I mean, that is going to happen. So digitization needs to be looked from a different manner. So common payment mode was looked at as an impediment by major metro corporations because it is pay as you go. It doesn't give them a purse one time deposit and then you keep using the card and last 50 rupees you leave because you don't want to use it. So all that money goes to the operator. So government has done a very good thing, Ministry of Housing, by saying that you benefit the end user and there is a free digital infrastructure, you use it. There's one more infrastructure which is not getting very popular in metro tendering is IUDX, Indian Urban Data Exchange. It's remaining more academic right now. Surat City is demonstrating it with one of the private players. Even Hitachi has onboarded the Varanasi city for a different purpose, the solid waste management. So, we have to utilize our own strengths. So, because population density, lack of infrastructure, lack of roads, as I said, London Metro is 5 times the network. And we can't reach that so easily, right? You can only wish for it. Hyderabad Metro, another example. Vaishakhi will be knowing what's the state of that metro, and would she prefer traveling by the metro just because the reach is not there?
Very valid point.
There is a lot of progress in implementing things so that we can aspire for better, and we have good infrastructure. Compared to when I met Mr. Madan last in 2018. A lot of things have changed in terms of digitalization, which we would realize, right? I hope you remember our session in 2018, Mr. Madan.
Just to say something on the, of course, basically the automatic fare collection system, which was adopted earlier, was all on the closed loop. So even if we want, we cannot use our credit card or anything for buying the ticket. But with the open loop system coming in and NCMC card based on the open loop, this is possible now. And London introduced it for the Olympic Games for the first time.
Yeah.
Anybody coming to London from abroad at the airport also, you can buy a ticket and directly go to without bothering about from where to buy the ticket. You can use this credit card and go to see the Olympic Games. So if there is a necessity, always generate the demand and then the solution comes. So as now people are feeling the open loop systems, but there are two different aspects. One is money, one is service. So metro, being a bigger brother in any city, must take care of the last mile connectivity. Unless until government also focuses on the same aspect, the metro should be given the priority in means arranging the last mile connectivity, whether by contract to the route or having your own bus. Because what the moment metro says will run the bus services, there are 10 more objections to it. You are not supposed to run the bus services also.
Yeah.
So like that, very narrow thinking also results into this problem. But once you have a big brother on transportation in a city, either the city authority should take care, like Transport for London takes care of London. So everything is under Transport for London, right? Or same way in many other cities in Europe also. The city authority then controls everything. They are not separate entities. But in India, metro is a separate entity. Every city means city authorities have some say on it, but metro as an authority remains a separate entity. So either, but responsibility of taking a passenger, picking up from his residence and dropping him back close to his residence should be a metro responsibility. And they must facilitate this thing. It doesn't cost much. It is only a mindset.
Yeah. People are ready to pay.
Yeah, people are ready to pay. If it is included in the ticket, nobody will care.
Yeah.
Right? You need not declare that it is part of the ticket. This is your operation, how you improve upon. That's all. If more ridership, in any case, you make more money.
Yeah.
At the ticket level. Right. So the thinking should be as big as possible, that it is my responsibility. That's why the name has also changed. Mobility as a service. Right. All those words have come only for that. You start change, thinking must change. And it must change from the authority, the operators and everyone. It is our service, basic duty to take a person to his destination and pick up and then give a ride. If, as you can, listening to Mr. Ashar was same thing. It doesn't serve him. Metro being there, it doesn't serve him as a personally. So our basic point is we must serve almost everyone. Whether we know them or not is secondary. It is a general public convenience where so much of money has been invested. So the responsibility lies with the authority to serve everyone living in the vicinity of the metro.
Yeah.
Right, Mr. Madan. One more point I would like to make is here, the integration attempts were made, in many places. But if you look at even Mumbai, which is much smaller than Delhi, there are 8 bus operators in MMRDA region. There are 6 revenue district zones. There are 11 municipalities having their own transportation. So 8 operators, some municipalities are common. So that is why NCMC is now invented. I would say Ministry of Housing has taken a good, call to put one card. The question is, we are done with AFC, a lot of things, but now that AFC can be leveraged to mobility benefits. Now this is the phase we are in, and there is where the data platforms, which I said, which are given by the government, needs to be utilized. So if I look at the European counterparts, again, I'll tell this to Mr. Bajpeyee, on mobility as a service, a city council first sets up a exchange server or exchange system for common ticketing. Then they set up an exchange system for banking. Then they give this rights to banks which monopolize this service. And there are people who make money on that. Question here is, this is available free, use it from the government. So that's the whole, culture. And any foreign company who does not see that money being made, they say it's offered free by the government. It's like air, free oxygen. So that digitalization, if we utilize, but that requires a different mindset.
Yeah.
Secondly, we don't go to market to buy things like the Europeans. Market comes to us. So again, that communication will minimize the need for travel, given the fact that we have so less roads. So, one aspect of mobility is, avoid mobility, avoid the need to move. For example, work from home is an aid to mobility, I would say. So, addressing the root causes. So, I mean, this is the whole, holistic view we have to take, and we have to live our strengths. 4.5 million ITO operators, so it's like heaven for digital. And all the solutions in Europe, digital, are being cooked up in India, right? You would not agree, Les?
No, I agree with it. Things are available, but not promoted, I will say. Second thing is, as you are right, that we are cornering people to stay at home, and we want more ridership. So these are two contradicting expectations.
And the next big revolution is the digital rupee.
Yeah.
So, NCMC card, all payment, everything is going to be revolutionary. So all these payment gateway companies and a lot of things are now changing their mindset to how to utilize digital rupee. And I think government will come out with suggestions to all the banks and other things. That time we can pitch in as transport operators. That's one thing which I don't think any country has got it. So our strengths are our strengths. Our limitations are our limitations, that we don't have cost for infrastructure, we have limited infrastructure. But then our mobility needs are different.
Yeah.
Electric vehicle also, similar things will come up, as challenges.
I think we've had numerous angles in which we've discussed this whole aspect of digitalization, but just to conclude what we have said, to sum everything up, let's kind of end on an optimistic note to say very seamlessly we can say that the metro sector is already at the forefront of using digital tools in the operation, construction, maintenance across the life cycle.
Yes.
We have progressed in terms of the technology. We have, for example, we have moved from closed loop cards to open loop NCMC cards, which are available for everyone. We are using signaling technologies for signaling, for rolling stock, for ensuring that we are able to reduce the life cycle cost of assets. We are using digital technology to bring in energy efficiencies and efficiency in operations. Having said that, while we are, we have transitioned from, we've transitioned and come a great way in terms of using digital tools in the metro sector. There is definitely improvements that we can look at. So we could look at further ensuring how the major issue of last mile connectivity can be solved using digitalization. How can we look at improving the quality of operations that we are providing? So this is something that definitely I'm sure that both the authorities as well as the private sector, including the expert panel we have, are involved closely in finding solutions to how we could further use digitalization in bringing about a revolutionary change further in the metro sector. So thank you so much to the expert panel for taking out the time to provide your insights, and thank you to the audience for attending this session. We hope you've been able to get immense insights on this topic of digitalization in the metro sector. Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And it was really, really interesting for all of us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Have the next session post lunch, and now we break for lunch from 1 to 2, and we're going to be back by 2 o'clock with the next set of discussion. Thank you so much and have a good time. Thank you.